you've received quite a lot of hate online. Like, do you ever read comments about yourself?
I
Like,
really try not to. Every once in a while I take a peek and I regret it. Yeah.
yeah. What's like the craziest thing you've seen about yourself?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I learned last night that I have a WikiFeet
That
profile.
is incredible. Have you looked at it yet?
No, I don't think I will. It's very strange
Okay,
to
I have
me.
something really funny to tell. So the first episode we did of Overstimulated, I had open toe shoes and my toes were out. And there were people commenting about the toes. And then I went to go look myself up on WikiFeet to see, like, am I on there? And I was like a little bit upset that I wasn't. Like, I was like, I didn't want to be on WikiFeet, but I'm like, why were the toes not good enough for WikiFeet? Like, do you have a sense, like, are there other people in the government of Canada that are on WikiFeet?
I have no idea. It's honestly not a site that I've ever gone on. I just heard that I have one.
Interesting.
And I'm a little worried about it, to be honest. It's kind of weird.
Which you're like, were they painted that day? Like, what shoes were they?
I think they were sandals. It was probably a summertime photo. Yeah.
There's probably no... Mark Carney's probably not on WikiFeet, to be honest. I don't think there's probably a lot of other people you're competing against right now that are on WikiFeet. So, you know,
one thing to add to my resume.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When we're on with comedians, when we're doing tours and events and things like that, we put like as seen on and like all the, you know, your credits. You could be like as seen on WikiFeet and CBC podcast and like up on your credentials. Yeah. Okay, so you're on a WikiFeet. People are weird to you online all the time. Would you be willing to react to some of the comments I found?
I don't know. Do I want to?
I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, so LRD from TikTok wrote, Karina Gould is the girl who got pantsed in grade 8 and her mom sued the school. Like, did you ever think about wearing a belt so that wouldn't happen? Or like,
well, I can actually say that never happened.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. You might be thinking of somebody else. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Strange. We've got Rick from TikTok wrote, this woman never stops talking. Give it up. Do you think Rick hates all women or like just his mom? Like, what do you think?
Oh, maybe just women who talk. I don't know. And it's actually my job as a politician to
you would think
talk.
It would be weird if you didn't talk.
It would be very strange if I was silent.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing my job appropriately.
Yeah.
Like my job is actually to speak up for Canadians.
Yeah. Are there any politicians that you wish would speak up more?
Or less?
Yeah. Maybe more of that. Okay, Paul from TikTok wrote, I think she is one of the women Trudeau hired because of her gender, not qualifications. You know, I'm sure Paul is really busy and doesn't have 5 free minutes to look at your Wikipedia page. Like, could you just tell him briefly what your credentials are?
Yeah, sure. I went to McGill University for my BA in political science and Latin American studies. I then went to Oxford, where I got a master's in international relations. I worked for the Organization of American States in Washington, D.C. I worked for the government of Mexico here in Toronto. And then I've been a member of parliament for almost a decade and have held 4 cabinet positions. And as you mentioned, I'm the youngest woman in Canadian history to have been appointed to cabinet and have held very senior roles in the government. So I invite him to look at my Wikipedia maybe we can have another conversation after that.
Yeah. You know, Paul, I don't even know if you made it through community college, my guy. Like, there were some grammatical errors in that sentence. Like, I don't think you made it to Oxford. Conservative Daddy from Instagram.
Conservative Daddy.
That's the real username. I did not make that up. Conservative Daddy. We support daddies of all kinds. We do. But Conservative Daddy from Instagram, he decided to diversify the language a little bit, and he went just with a GIF, and it just says, shut up, bitch. That's all it says. And so I'm wondering, like, if you were prime minister, would you outlaw sexist GIFs?
No, because that probably goes against the Constitution.
Damn it, that whole thing.
Yeah, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. As paraphrasing Voltaire, as much as I don't like what you have to say, I'll defend your right to say it. But he could probably be more constructive.
Yeah. There was a lot of comments from Jack on your Facebook.
Okay.
He came to write this is on one day.
Yeah.
He came to write, whatever turns you on, princess. Then he came back a day later to write, you need a hearing aid, which is honestly like fan behavior. The fact that he like came back to revisit it. And then afterwards he called you a fruitcake. Do you have a favorite sweet treat?
Well, I'm glad that he follows me so much. Clearly,
engagement is engagement.
I'm gluten-free, so I really like gluten-free chocolate lava cakes. Those are pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you be?
I also like meringues. Meringues are really good.
Ooh, that's very light.
Yes.
That's like yes.
Yeah.
Can you be the prime minister if you're gluten-free?
Yeah, I think that is, I think that's okay.
Has it ever been done before though?
Good question. I don't know. That could be another first. That could be another first.
You're going to be doing a lot of firsts, Karina. I don't know. What about low iron? Do you have low iron? Can a prime
No,
minister
I
have
have
low
I have
iron?
very good iron.
Okay, you must have the energy.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you eat to get so much iron?
I don't know. I've always had good iron levels.
Damn it, you're actually perfect. Like, I've never met a woman that can speak confidently and has good appropriate iron
and
levels.
even when I was pregnant, like it was because you have to get your iron levels tested
Really?
all the time.
Yeah.
And my midwife was like, your iron levels are like out of this world.
Okay, if I ever have to get a blood transfusion, I hope we have the same blood type, honestly. That sounds really nice. That sounds really great. I have some more questions about your daily life in Parliament and in politics
Sure.
for you. You know, you're in close quarters with people all the time. You're working all hours of the day. I imagine you get very close with people. And I know you have cabinet secrecy, but like, has anyone ever farted during a cabinet meeting? Like, has anyone ever ripped ass so bad it like disrupted business? No?
No comment.
Not even one? Not even just like a little, not even like when you're sitting beside somebody on an airplane and it's like disgusting and you're like, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm just going to pull my scarf up. Like nothing even like that.
No.
What about caucus? Like anyone farting at caucus? Like
No.
in the house, nobody's stinking up the place.
There's a lot of hot air in the house.
There's a lot of hot air. Okay. I imagine there's some large hot air emitters in there.
There are some large hot air
emitters. Speaking of hot air emitters, one thing that I'm really passionate about and curious about is climate change.
Yeah.
I know the carbon tax was not, let's say, very popular with a lot of people. Like, is that something you're planning on keeping? Like, would you choose a different policy to make sure that we're meeting our climate objectives?
Well, I think the one thing that I know about Canadians is that they really do care about the environment and they really do care about fighting climate change. I think we have to have a really honest conversation about the carbon tax and what it does and what it doesn't do. Just because Pierre Poilievre says something doesn't mean it's true, and actually it's often not. And
well, yeah, I remember even seeing the ads they have about the carbon tax. The way they started is actually just false. They're saying the farmer needs to pay, and from my understanding, I mean, if you search carbon tax, the first page that comes up, the Government of Canada website, it says agriculturalists are exempt from that with like a few exceptions. Yeah. So it's actually just not accurate in a lot of ways.
Like why would he, tell the truth, right? So it's easier to rile people up.
Like
when
we
you're
said, a
not telling
Gemini,
the truth.
guys, a Gemini, you know what that means. You get it. Okay.
But I know some good Geminis too, though.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, you'll have to introduce us because that would change my world. That would change my world. But carbon tax.
Yeah.
Carbon tax,
So back to that. It's responsible for 10% of our emissions reductions, right? So I think we have to recognize that it is an important piece of what we do to fight climate change. But I do hear Canadians when it comes to the fact that they're saying everything is too expensive right now, and they just can't afford to pay more for things, right? Yeah. So what I've committed to do, which is different than Mark Carney or Chrystia Freeland, is to say there was a planned increase for the price on pollution as of April 1st. I'm going to freeze that. Right? We're not going to do that. We're going to cancel that. And then we can have a conversation, I think, as Canadians about what we would replace the carbon tax with if that's what we want to do. But until we figure out what that replacement is, I'm just going to keep it at the current level. We have to keep fighting climate change. And remember that if you live in Ontario or one of the other provinces where there's a backstop, Canadians get a carbon rebate.
Right.
And so here in Ontario, that could be $1,200 a year.
Right.
And if you get rid of the carbon tax, you get rid of the rebate. And
so does it work out like if I would that actually work out for some people that like what they would have to pay, like they'd get more back than what they actually
so
have
the
to pay?
majority of Canadians get much more back than what they pay in.
Sorry, say that again. The majority of Canadians get much more back in terms of financial dollars from the carbon tax than what they have to pay for it.
That's right.
So then who's paying? Who are the ones that are actually paying?
The wealthier ones.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because they spend more on carbon, right? And so because they're spending more on carbon, they're paying more. And so for lower income Canadians, I think the PBO, the Parliamentary Budget Officer, said that 8 out of 10 Canadians get more back than what they pay.
That's 80%.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that's a pretty high number. So if you're going to say, well, we're going to get rid of this, you have to have a plan for, well, are you also getting rid of the rebate checks? And, I'm committed to also increasing the industrial price on pollution because I think big emitters have to pay. But if you were to increase it to the equivalent of what the consumer price is, like that would be a huge increase on industry. And it would be really hard to keep the checks, because that's billions of dollars a year. So I don't think that's a very responsible plan either, because I don't think our industry can actually afford to make up that difference. Right. But then I also think it's really important to help Canadians make the choices that they want to make. And like, individual Canadians are already making better choices than industry is, but they want to be able to buy electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles. We have a rebate at the federal level. It's not as generous as I think it should be, because if you are a middle income Canadian, it's probably not enough to help you make the choice to buy an electric or a hybrid vehicle. I would include gas hybrids in that as well, because anything we're doing to reduce our emissions is a good thing. And then also to bring things back, like the home energy retrofit program.
So when I finally own a home after I get my dentures, I can make it a green home.
Or your landlord, right? Can do that
renters
too.
Can use that too.
Well, not renters, but we should be incentivizing landlords to make greener choices as well. We should be updating the Canada Building Code to all of our new buildings to be greener homes. Like there's this incredible building in Burlington that is one of the most energy efficient multi-unit buildings in Canada, or it is the most energy efficient in Canada. And we did that by supporting them and the work that they were doing at the federal level. And we need to be having carrots to encourage people to make the choices that they want to make, but that are too unaffordable for them right now. And that's not just good for the individual consumer. It's also good for our industry. Like Ontario is an auto manufacturing powerhouse, and they are making the change to electric and hybrid vehicles. We made big investments in batteries. And so let's support Canadians, support our industry as well.
I like that you said support Canadians, because when you were talking about EVs, I was concerned we were going to be supporting people to buy Cybertrucks. And I don't know if that's the move.
Those are weird. Honestly, I see them.
They look like a robot's tampon. They look like disgusting.
They are not an attractive vehicle.
No. And I don't want to support Elon any more than we must.
Well,
honestly.
but here's the thing, right? Like, the Ford manufacturing plant, Honda, Toyota, those are all vehicles that are built in Canada that are making the move to become electric and hybrid. And so let's support Canadians, support local.
Yeah, so cool, especially with what's happening south of the border right now. Very important.